game number 1. Game number 1, everybody, here at the third place decider between Dignitas and Kiev6 starts on Dragonshire. Another best of 5 series, and we have Turan banned out by Dignitas immediately. So they don't even play any kind of games where they are trying to go for like maybe a different pick, like banning out ETC, for example, to have a chance to take one of these heroes right at the beginning of the match. So we could see that Kel'Thas ban again for Kiev, unless, of course, they are completely fine with like letting Kel'Thas go. Maybe they pick a Zagara then instead. There's a couple of options of how we can play it here, but the question that you have to answer at this point is, do we want to go up against Kel'Thas, yes or no? They ban out the ETC, so it seems like they are fine going up against the Kel'Thas here, and that's the immediate pick for Dignitas. Kiev6 could now go into an early Zagara if they want to, but they go for Muradin first, have the opportunity to go, well, Falstad or Jaina, and they decide to go for Falstad in this case. That leaves a couple of really strong heroes on the map now as well. Dignitas, for example, they don't have the option to go into ETC anymore, but they pick the Uther right away. First of all, of course, to take Uther away from any kind of potential melee assassin that Kiev6 could play right now, but also to just make sure that in this case they are currently just like having the own option to go for a Thrall later on, to go maybe even into that Karrigan, even though we see her very rarely. And that Zagara now is locked down by them. Kiev6 had an opportunity to go for Zagara. They decided not to use it, which is actually kind of interesting that they value Falstad even higher than Zagara here on the map. Again, we are finding ourselves in this like a bit of a, not really a dilemma, but in this difference between the North American and the European scene. In North America, Zagara is valued a lot higher than Falstad. But of course, Falstad gives you a lot of control, especially since on Dragonshire you can just like fly from shrine to shrine, make sure that you have good map control and lane control. Whereas Zagara is usually just like a very stationary hero, very strong with the power on the lane, real lane bully, and secures normally a shrine for the team. But of course, does not have that mobility that Falstad has. Johanna banned out. Kiev6 with a smart move here. They already banned ETC. They have also Muradin taken, and therefore in this case they ban out Johanna. Dignitas will have to really think about which kind of frontliner they are going to choose here. They could still go into something along the sides of well, I suppose the Diablo, since we have still that opportunity to go from Apocalypse into Maw or Maw into Apocalypse. It's actually like a combo that is starting to become a little bit more popular again, and Dignitas could try to capitalize on that. If they want to do it, they should probably add a second tank too, and they ban out Leoric. Okay, so that's already an interesting touch. So they ban even more tanks in this setup now. If Kiev6 goes for a double tank comp and takes one away, then Dignitas might be in a bit of trouble. But then again, we also saw heroes like Chen, for example, played. I think there was even Dignitas who used the hero. And we have a Thrall Sylvanas pick for Kiev6. Now that's an interesting counter now, because first of all, Thrall of course takes Thrall himself, Green Jesus, away from Dignitas, who would have loved to play the hero, I suppose, since they are already running an Uther. Kiev6 needs a very strong supporter, though, to make sure that Thrall is not bursted down right away, and that's usually a Karazim. It could also, in theory, be a Rhaegar, but you need something to really keep Thrall alive in this setup, especially, of course, since it is a solo healer, no matter what they're going for. Dignitas could, in theory, now go for Sonya, which has not been picked yet. Sonya with the Divine Shield is quite strong. Of course, you can use the Divine Shield on Dragonshire also to catch these Dragonites. If both of the shrines are under your control and your opponent is trying to stop you in the middle, you simply put the Divine Shield on a hero and then you catch that. So that's quite easy, and it's something that a lot of the teams actually do these days. So Sonya is possible. If you play Sonya, you could even use an Arthas here. You have a couple of options of how you can play this now. The thing is, if you play Sonya, maybe a Tyrell would even be the better choice. Arthas is quite rare these days, but he is played. The problem that you have with Arthas in a composition that tries to dive the opponent is that he doesn't really have a gap closer. So normally he's just one of those heroes that tries to slow the opponent down. Sonya is taken. I think that Tyrael would be a good addition. You have two frontliners. It's not the strongest tank, but if you have then Sonya also in the same line, then you should be able to keep Tyrael alive. They have also an Uther there. Other options would still again be that Chen. Chen has also the advantage that he is extremely strong up at the top lane. I'm mentioning him because Dignitas played him just recently. It was actually the match that we had yesterday where they used the hero. So that's something that they might try and play here today again. Of course, as a frontliner, he's not too bad, can lock a target down. We saw the battle between Chen and Thrall yesterday in the match. But yeah, there are a couple of options. And they go Diablo for this combo that I've been talking about earlier. So they go for it Diablo into the potential Apocalypse or more into Apocalypse. They could be running with a Lightning Breath here as well. You have a very nice zoning ability with that Heroic. And of course, with Uther there, they can try to keep him alive. It's a bit of a risky move, though. Usually, Diablo is played in either a full double tank setup or is played with double support. In this case, Sonya is, of course, also up at the front line, but Diablo is going to have, at least in the late game, a bit of a tougher time. Early on, this setup should be very, very strong and should allow Dignitas to really bully Kiev6 around a bit. Kiev6 now with the last pick, and as I said, they need a good support. My money would be on Karazim. Oh, wow, they go for Malfurion. All right, that is very NA meta what they're currently doing here. Malfurion as a counter to Kel'Thas. You don't really see a lot of Malfurion these days being played in the European scene. And Thrall is not really going to have all that burst heal and that panic button that a Divine Palm gives you. So Malfurion and Thrall, maybe not really the best comp here, but then again, it helps you really to negate a lot of the damage that Kel'Thas is going to push out. So that's the thought process between of Kiev6 here, I suppose. That lockdown with the roots is also pretty sweet, so you can use that too. My money was really on Rhaegar or on Karazim. Both of the heroes would have been a bit better for Thrall himself. As a team setup, though, that Tranquility can, of course, really help you then after those team fights, especially if Kel'Thas is starting to just throw out not only the Flame Strike, but also those Chain Bombs. All in all, pretty aggressive lineup for both sides now. Dragonshire is the first map in the best of 5 series here, the third place decider, and we're going to go straight into game number 1 to find out who's going to take the lead. All right. Let's see. Just 1 second. Do we have our lobby up? Yeah, actually, I already had the lobby earlier, so I know that the lobby is already up. Heroes, hi. Did it crash? No, it didn't. Okay, awesome. Looks like we are good to go. Did I mute? Yes, I did. Okay. Now we should have some sound. No? Okay, that works. Now that twice even. Okay, there we go. That's the in-game sound. For a second I was really like worried that we don't have that. But yeah, either way, now we get that chance. So let's see. Okay, so we can actually go into game number 1 as soon as these bad boys are ready. Things are looking good so far. Everybody seems to be in the lobby. Actually, we're missing one. Okay, so apparently Shrimpy had a bit of a problem and disconnected, reconnected into the game again. And as soon as he's ready, we can start things up here. Yep, 7 out of 10 ready. The rest is going to hit that button as well. And let's take it from there. Okay, cool. Nice. Pretty aggressive picks here. I kind of like it. It's actually like a sweet setup that we have for the two teams. The Diablo and Sonya composition is something that I kind of like. It's, well, kind of like in the sense that it's going to be pretty interesting to watch. Personally, I wouldn't want to play with it because it's going to be pretty tricky to keep these two alive. Sonya and Diablo in the early game can really do a lot of damage, and of course they can start to really just like bully the lanes, go in, snipe a target. That can be pretty sweet, but I'm not quite sure if in the late game they're going to be able to keep them alive. If they snowball then on the other hand, though, of course that wouldn't really matter too much. So yeah, it depends a bit on how they are controlling the early game, and if they get a couple of the early Dragon Knights, for example, to give you, yeah, then they could make this happen quite easily. I mean, there's a couple of things that you can really do with the setup. But yeah, for now we're just like waiting for the players to get ready so that we can jump in. There was a lot of focus on the tank line, banning them out, and therefore there weren't too many options. I guess you could also run in a Tyrael who has at least that shield, but then you have still this pretty squishy tank line. It's a more mobile one though. That's the advantage that you have with the Tyrael. You're a little bit more mobile, and you have the Sanctification, which can really help you. There's not a whole lot of like burst damage that we have on the opponent's side, so there's no Jaina that was picked. There's also no Kel'Thas for Kiev6 since he's run currently by Dignitas, but still. Dignitas yesterday losing against Fnatic. They took one map, it was a 1-3. And Kiev6 did not take a map against Navi. So those two teams we're going to see later on during the day. But for now we're actually going into game number 1 and going to see who is going to take it here. So yep, first game starting here at the Heroes Battle Arena. So guys, let's get ready and jump right into it. Yeah, that loading screen takes a moment or two. Apparently somebody has some pretty bad internet. There we go. We're on and running again. Hydra. He's the one that we've waiting for. Hydra. Game number 1, everybody, has started. It is the Heroes Battle Arena. We are in the 3rd place decider, and the game is on. Dragonshy as the map, and to the left side we have Dignitas going up against Kiev6 here today in a best-of-5 series. Bakery on Uther for the support on the side of Dignitas. We have Snitch on Kelthas. Shrimpy is playing Zagara, Ethereal Angel on Sonya, and JPL is playing Diablo. To the right side of the map, Kiev6 with AR on Falstad. We have Mopsio on Thrall, Hydra on Sylvanas, Lunan on the support, of course, on Malfurion here, and Sir Ice Cream is playing Muradin. So in this setup right now, we have both of the teams, well, they lost in the semi-finals here. Dignitas lost to Na'Vi, and Dignitas lost to Fnatic, and Kiev6 lost to Na'Vi. Now we're going into game number 1, and we have immediately a Chain Lightning talent taken on the side of Thrall. Zagara at the top is trying to get her creep tumors in position, and Shrimpy is immediately bursted down. I'm actually a bit surprised by Dignitas here. It's fairly common if you have a Zagara against you. Well, first of all, if you play a Zagara, it's very common that you try to set those creep tumors up at the top. It's usually 3 that you're going for, and it's very, very normal that you try to protect Zagara. Now we have also the kill against Kelthas. That's a really good start here for Kiev6. So Zagara very much alone at the top, and it surprises me, because normally you really see the entire team move with the Zagara so that she can place those creep tumors down, and then we oftentimes see that 5 versus 5 battle up at the top. In this case though, Zagara was very much alone. The pretty standard rotation of Kiev6 happened to be up at the top lane as well, and therefore Zagara had no chance after the first Stormbolt hit. Got locked down and taken apart, and this is an early double kill that we see even before the creep waves collide in the middle of the lanes. So very well played here by Kiev6. Maybe a bit of a misstep on the side of Dignitas. So they find themselves slightly behind. They have Soul Fields taken on Diablo. Quite often when we see him as a solo tank in the team, we have even Devil's Due considered by the players. But in this case, we have at least Sonya next to him, so that's going to help a bit. With Uther, they also have a very strong support though. Zagara, as expected, is at the top lane. Falstad in the mid lane actually is being taken down now. So the first kill for Dignitas. Their 4-man rotation between the mid and the top lane has been successful thus far. So they're starting to make their way over here. And they go for now Sylvanas as well. And nice! JPL actually getting a hold of Sylvanas and takes her down here together with the rest of the team. The rotation's very strong for them now. And at the top lane, Zagara is now dying as a bit of a counter kill. So 3 kills against 2. Shrimpy not having an easy time up at the top. And with the rotation that Bakery is now starting, he just wants to make sure that he gets, of course, that lane soak and gets all of that experience. All in all, the teams hit level 4 at the same time. We have a Seasoned Marksman build for Falstad. Thrall would probably consider Falstad, by the way, again down. And, well, here we have, at the same time, Bakery about to die. Not quite. 3 kills against 3 kills. A very kill-heavy opening that we are seeing now. As Zagara is up at the top again, Bakery immediately rotates down to the bottom. We're having still Dignitas with an attempt to go for the shrine down to the bottom of the map. Keep in mind that that Divine Shield is going to be a bit of a problem, since once you control 2 of those shrines and Divine Shield is in play, you can simply put the Divine Shield on the hero and he can channel the Dragon Knight. So that is definitely one of the things that Kiev6 has to consider. Again, the lockdown against Hydra, and they go for the kill against Sylvanas. The Gravity Lapse hits. Diablo's in a bit of trouble himself. Might fall here, but Sir Ice Cream is also very low. Has to extend for this one, but he can escape with a quick jump. At the top lane, with the double Chain Lightning Talon level 1 and level 4, we're seeing now Rolling Thunder and Ride the Lightning on Thrall, the most popular melee assassin that we have these days in the game. And we have now the Rampant Growth for Lunan on his Malfurion. After the Moonburn on level 1, the rest of the talents, we have Envenom taken for Sylvanas. Pretty normal picks here for the two teams. The auto attack build for Falstad with Seasoned Marksman straight into the power throw, and Secret Weapon will follow as the level 7 talent. Terra Angel, very, very far up to the top, alone, had to go in and make sure that no Dragon Knight was taken, but he pays with his life for it. And Dignitas is now really starting to feel the pain here. 5 kills against them. They themselves have 4. At the bot lane, again, Bakery and Snitch controlling one of the shrines. Up to the top, Zagara so far didn't really have a fun match. Mopsio was pushing her back the entire time. And now with that Chain Lightning build, we are also seeing, of course, follow through once again taken for Thrall. So not going for the hybrid build where you start with the Wind Shear talents on level 7, but instead the full focus on those Chain Lightnings, and that should be level 16 then later on for him as an additional talent. Snitch is very, very alone, and yep, he is down. No chance there. JPL and Ethereal Angel were trying to help him, but that's now kill number 6 against Dignitas. Schwimpy at the top lane, still fighting with Mopsio here, and it looks like we see a bit of an attempt to take Thrall down. One stun, where's that spear? It's hitting hard, and now Thrall is dead. So that gives them another shrine up at the top. The level 7 talents with the fission bomb now taken as well. Mirrodin is trying to channel, but he's too late. The top shrine will be lost, and indeed it is. Now we have a focus on Sir Ice Cream. The bot lane fight is also still going on. We have so much action on the map right now. Diablo is in a bit of trouble here, as we are seeing battle momentum for him. He goes in and tries to take down Sir Ice Cream, but the dwarf jumps away, and now Ethereal Angel gets locked down by a great root from Lunan once again. He's really awesome on that Malfurion, and those roots are usually on point. AR flies down, tries to go for a bit of a fight. Bakery is there, and Falstad has only half HP. But so far, no commitment, as Lunan is moving now to the top lane. We're seeing Mopsio doing the same thing. Zagara, by the way, went into the rapid incubation. Pretty cool talent to take here. Schwimpy was kind of forced into it, to be honest, because, well, he does not really have that lane sustain that he wants. And especially with him struggling to place down those creep tumors, he needs to do something, and that talent will help him a lot. Hydra nearly dying, very close, but Snitch pays the price and dies as well. This is a slugfest. I mean, they are going straight for it. 8 kills against 5. 13 kills, 5 minutes in the game, meaning we're seeing roughly 3 kills per minute right now. So this is just an all-out brawl that these guys are throwing at us. We're having at the top lane Schwimpy again with a quick rotation here, or well, not rotation, but he's trying to just like put down those creep tumors that Thrall is continuously getting rid of. And here comes another Thrall kill, or an attempt at least, and they can't kill Mopsio. Falstad is flying in, takes over the experience. At the bot lane we have also a fight happening. In this case it's Bakery who is getting attacked. Level 10 talents are now in place, and that means of course that we are seeing Sundering for Thrall. We're having at the same time now also the Wailing Arrow, Tranquility, Avatar plus Mighty Gust being used, and it's Leap. Oh god, I'm loving these talents already. Yesterday we've seen Dignitas already play with Leap, and it didn't really work out for them. It was on Tomb of the Spider Queen against Navi, against Fnatic. Today we are seeing again Leap being played on Sonya for the Initiate, and we have the Maw plus the Apocalypse. So if you think about it, it's a huge amount of control here that they have. With a good Maw they can lead into Apocalypse and then get the first stun going, and then Sonya can still jump in, or you can use the Leap as an initiation for any kind of kill. And that's a very aggressive setup that they have. They're moving in already, 4 heroes against Thrall. Not even the War Chief wins again with these odds. So he's taken down now too. 8 kills against 6. Bakery very low. They need to send somebody over to help with the experience. He heals himself, but he really needs to go back, you know. Yeah, Sylvanas, of course, pushing like crazy, but we have also push at the top lane, where the fort is already eliminated. And this is looking pretty sweet, actually, for Dignitas. They are taking a lead in experience. Not for long, though, since with that fort dying down to the bot lane, we're having Kiev6 on nearly exactly the same amount. Bakery is starting to move in. Here comes the attack from the top. Ethereal Angel is there, and immediately Apocalypse. Where's that Leap? They don't need it just yet, but there we have it. On top of Malfurion, he gets eliminated. No chance for him. Level 12 versus level 11 now. Diablo in a bit of trouble. The more hits, but Diablo is going to fall. He's not. Divine Shield saves him. A double kill against Kiev6 brings the lead for Navi, for Dignitas. And now we're having them rotate up to the top. JPL already there and going straight for that Dragon statue, and he is going to get it. Thrall is too late. Dragon's Knight #1 in favor of Dignitas, and Kiev6, they're also losing now. Falstad onto the bot lane again. Great aggression here that we see from Dignitas, and they have now not only the Chain Bomb, but at the same time also with Firestorm, another aggressive talent for Diablo himself. The Mystical Spear for Sonya is going to give them a bit more mobility in these fights, and especially against Thrall it's important that Uther now has access to his Shrink Ray, so that he can really just slow him down a bit. Sundering already used. They go for Sonya. She does not have the leap to escape, but she's just whirlwinding away, and it doesn't really look like they can lock her down here. Schwimpy could actually take a Stormbolt for her, but Bakery on the move back. He gets locked down. There's nothing that he can do at this point. Uses the cleanse for a second, but in the end, Uther dies. The thing is, though, that with all of this happening at the bot lane, the Dragon Knight had a lot of space in the mid lane to go for the next kill against another fort. So the experience lead for Navi is definitely real, and they kick also Mopsio now right into those towers. He can rush away, but still JPL survives, moves back with the Dragon Knight, and Dignitas is looking pretty solid here. Level 13 talents now, also for Kiev6. And Kiev now with a double spell shield. We're seeing Thrall with Yeah, well, Thrall not going for the Spell Shield. He had a chance to go for Spell Shield here, but decided to go into Giant Killer instead. And with a double Giant Killer now, one on Thrall, the other one on Falstad, they can put a ton of pressure onto especially Diablo in the later stage of the game. As we already mentioned, he is going to be a bit of a liability. Diablo in a double tank setup is very sweet, but we have only a Sonya to help him out. Not really a tank, it's a warrior per classification, but it's more like a bruiser type, not really a hero that sticks at the front and is trying to just like soak a lot of damage. So Diablo will be very much alone here, and it's going to be a bit tricky, but these wombo combos that we're seeing on the side of Dignitas are so far working out quite nicely. With Kel'Thas in play, those two spell shields don't really surprise. The interesting thing is, of course, that Malfurion went straight into the ice block, and that's a very, very good choice, because we can assume that Sonya is going to try and take him out whenever she gets an opportunity to. The jump into the back line with lead is really amazing if you're trying to hit one of these heroes, so no life seed for Lunan. That would have given him a bit more heals, but in this case it would just have been too much of a risk. So right now we are seeing 9 kills against 9, 15 versus 14 in levels, and a big push down to the bot lane for Kiev6-1. It is the first game of a best of 5 series, here the third place decider, and the teams are waiting for a chance to maybe lock one of those heroes down, and there it is, JPL. He gets attacked, but the Mighty Gust is rushing everybody back now. It's still a 5 versus 5, and the Ethereal Angel and the Sonya jumps in, they go for Thrall, and now the Apocalypse is coming into play as well. They take Thrall down, and now they turn things around against Malfurion. He's trying to escape here, but there's no way for him to just dodge this. Now he's dead, and we see exactly both of the heroes jumping away. Hydra and Ice Cream. Falstad is suddenly very much alone, gets stunned out and also eliminated. Good setup here. Snitch immediately ready with the Gravity Lapse to make sure that there's no way for Falstad to barrel roll away. Cooldown wasn't even ready, so it didn't matter too much. But yeah, 16 talents are now in play, and that means that another fort is being eliminated at the bottom of the map. With Benediction, Arcane Barrier, Stoneform and Rampage for Diablo, we'll probably see Zagara go into the Brood expansion. Having those double Hunter Killers is just absolutely powerful, especially when you already went straight into the Muralist talent on level 13. So for now we have exactly that happening. Bakery, JPL and Snitch, they are starting to take down the structures down to the bottom, and the Dragonite has been captured. So Ice Cream is starting to move in, though it looks like they're trying to go for Diablo here. Here comes the stun against the Lord of Terror, and the Dragonite is joining the fight, kicking Lunan away. So Ice Cream is very much alone in the back, and he is very likely to fall here, especially of course with the Mutalisk chasing him down. Another kill against Mirrodin. 13 kills in total now against Dignitas, and the Dragonite moves down to the bot lane to go straight for a kill against the Keep. 12 minutes into the game, they're attempting to drop one of the main structures of Kiev6. Kiev6 in a bit of trouble here. Had a great start into the game, but Dignitas, they turned it around, and now it's the first structure, the first Keep that falls. Dragonite can't, of course, really go for it. Oh, they're actually trying to go for another lockdown against Malfurion, and they get him. Great combo here by Ethereal Angel, starting off with his ult and then throwing Malfurion into the stun. Well played. Ethereal Angel with an attempt to put at least a bit of pressure onto the core, but they're very unlikely to really go through with this since they are already running out of time on the Dragonite. And even in that 5 versus 4 situation, it's just a bit too much fighting on underneath that core. Ethereal Angel moving away, everybody rather low. Snitch has no mana left, so he needs to escape here as well. And with Ethereal Angel back in play on his Sonya, they're just starting to focus on the camp, and that's about it. The level 16 talents are now, on the other hand, also ready for Team Kiev6. And that means that they have now the Tempest Fury taken. So no second Chain Lightning on Mopsio. He decides to go into the third strike damage, which can be quite nice. But of course, if you try to rely a lot on follow through, then oftentimes you still see that second Chain Lightning charge taken, so that you have a few more options to just like spam out spells and then go straight into the auto attacks to benefit from follow through here. With that said, we have for Malfurion, I mean, usually we're seeing either Tenacious Roots or Hardened Focus here on the hero, Ethereal Angel, and also one of our casters dropping. Oh, we seem to have a bit of a BattleNet issue. This is a bit unlikely. This is very unlikely that we have 3 players that are in no way connected, dropping at the same time. And yes, our stream is also lagging here a bit. That could actually lead into a bit of a problem here for us, depending on what exactly happens there. We had that just lately on one of the American servers as well, and I hope that it's not going to affect the evening here. But yep, as Hydra points out, rest in peace servers, doesn't really look too peachy. But it gives us an opportunity to talk about a bit of the damage that is being taken here. So it looks like everybody on the side of Dignitas is already back to business. Not 100% certain how it looks on the side of Kiev6. But in damage here, as you can see, Kelthas 28,000, pretty solid. When it comes to damage, also Thrall, very, very high here. I mean, Kelthas, of course, is relying on the chain bombs quite heavily. Looks like the Kiev 5 boys need a second, as Hydra just points out. When we are talking about Sylvana, she's at 25,000, but of course, especially her siege damage is very strong. That's also true for Diablo, who's at 104,000 here right now, so that isn't too bad either. A lot of these stats are oftentimes a little bit blown up by Dragonites that have been taken. Ethereal Angel, on the other hand, with 55,000, even though he had a Dragonite earlier. 18 versus 16 are the current levels that we have, so a 2-level lead roughly for Dignitas, and what they are going to try and do is head into level 20 so that they get another advantage in talents, and then maybe drop the core or just start on those keeps in the middle and up at the top. With the rest of the talents that we can now see, we have, of course, a lot of safety on level 16, as already pointed out before. Benediction is going to give you that double heal or the double stun, depending on what exactly you need. And we have at the same time now for Falstad with Hammer Time the build nearly completed. Nexus Frenzy on the last pick. This is going to help them then, of course, as well to dish that damage out. But it is crazy single target damage that you get out of Falstad. Thrall has been doing solid work throughout the game here, especially spamming that chain lightning as much as he could. And for Malfurion, I guess in this setup it would even be a bit better for them to go into the hardened focus. To be absolutely honest with you, I mean, if he gets the lockdown, the roots can be quite nice, especially, of course, when your opponent is trying to jump you and you just like put the roots on the ground and you try to escape here. But so far, I don't think that Malfurion has really the chance to get that out too much. I suppose that a bit more heal would maybe be the better option here. As is, we have the game starting up again. At least AR is currently asking if everything's fine here. 21,000 heals on Malfurion and the heals on the side of Uther at 29,000. So even with that tranquility in play, we're seeing that Malfurion doesn't really have as much heal as Uther. On the other hand, then again, we have 1 death on Uther and we have 3 on Malfurion. So during those fights, Malfurion, of course, a priority target for Dignitas, and therefore oftentimes eliminated before the fight is really going over the full distance. For now, level 19 is about to hit, and camps are taken on the map everywhere. I mean, every team is just trying to secure the camps that they can, so that they get a bit of lane pressure. We have only 1 fort eliminated by Kiev5, and the team is currently moving into the mid lane to attempt at least take a few structures down. Every structure that you kill at this point is going to give you extra experience, and that's something that you are really desperately in need of if you are on the red team, since they are 2 levels behind, and that level 20 talent is going to be brutal. Storm talents are strong, and that is going to give JPL, with the potential Lord of Terror talent, also a lot of sustain at the front line, which is definitely one of the issues that the Dignitas composition has. So far, he has been doing pretty well though, but now we see the lanes just being pushed away. We have already the catapults taken down at the bottom. JPL is trying to go for Mopsio, but nice on the stun. Ethereal Angel, they have leap, and they go stun into stun. Mopsio is dead. Was trying to dish a bit of damage out. That didn't happen. And here comes once again. Nice. Leap over Mighty Gust. Not quite intentional, but certainly looked good. So we have a double kill for Dignitas. And now that we have the temples or the shrines activated again, it looks like an easy Dragonite for the team in blue. And that would potentially also close out the game, since the level 20 talents are ready for them at the same time with a redemption. There it is, as mentioned before, the Lord of Terror talent for the extra lifesteal. And we're having Hardened Shield, Blink, Bolt of the Storm, and we're going to see probably the same talent for Zagara as well. Unless she wants to go for a damage talent to make sure that they can really get that core. But I don't really feel that there's any way that we're going to see Kiev5 coming back into this. Thrall is going to be back in 5 seconds. This is definitely nice, but with 8 seconds on Foster, they should have enough time to lead with a bit of damage there. And as Luna dies now, Malfurion, this is not even a question anymore. Already we have Shrimpy moving in, gets slowed down by the keep for a second. Here comes Falstad, bursting them away. They actually do a very good job here, but Hydra is nearly dead and the core is already at 40%. So it is Dignitas with the victory in game number 1 in this best of 5 against Team Kiev5. The core down, and Dignitas, they take the lead here on Sky Temple. On Dragonshire. Not quite the same thing, pretty close though. GG. They take the lead on Sky Temple, he said, with conviction in his voice.